An Australian woman has told her story of survival after battling 7 hours through the night to save her house from a deadly bushfire. Anne Windress, her husband Mick and two relatives used hoses and buckets to stave off flames they say were 30 to 40 feet high on their Johns River property near Port Macquarie on Friday night. The firestorm that firefighters say was the worst they'd ever seen claimed the life of their next door neighbour. While she managed to save the house, some of the farm animals are still suffering. Anne Windress spoke to Alex Perrottet just after burying her cow.
We had actually went out to tea because it had calmed down a bit in the afternoon, so we headed off into Laurelton and had some Chinese. Come back and the whole place was just red. It's still a fair way away, so my husband and my brother and sister-in-law, they all went off to bed, but I said, no, I'm waiting up for the southerly. So about 10 o'clock, it sounded like a freight train coming. And I looked out the bedroom window and the whole place was just red. And within a minute, we were showered with embers and the fight started.
So you woke everyone up?
I had to, yeah. Well, I screamed. I had to scream. They all got up pretty quick and it was full on for the next 7 hours. It was frightening. Don't want to go through that again.
Did anyone get badly hurt?
Well, our neighbour was killed, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
she lost her life.
And so how close, how nearby is the neighbour?
Just the next paddock over. We actually heard 3 explosions go off from her place, which was probably the gas bottles and car or tractor or something. Yeah, it was a bit frightening, but there's no way if we'd had realised and knew what was going on, we may have been able to get over the paddocks to her, but it was a bit chaotic, we had to stay and fight for our home. So I did panic. I'm an avid animal lover, so I grabbed my dogs. Couldn't find the 4 cats, but I grabbed the dogs and put them in the car and ran the car out into the middle of the paddock where I thought they'd be safe. And, just ran back and started putting out spot fires.
How'd you do that?
Just with a watering can, actually. We only had 2 garden hoses going, and one had about 3 splits in it, so there was water going everywhere, but I suppose it didn't matter. We needed the water. But luckily that morning we had just got a load of water for our tanks because we were just about out, so someone's looking after us.
Yeah, that's all right. The fences are going to be refixed. It's the trees that go up when they blow the ashes this way. Yeah. The ashes you've got to worry about.
I'll go down the back.
So it was that water you used up to pour all over those flames?
Yes, yeah, yep.
And was the fire service nearby or were you on your own?
No, we were on our own. No, they came down about 3 hours later. I did call 000, but when they finally turned up about 3 hours later, they said that we were actually right at the forefront of the worst firestorm they've ever witnessed. So they said once a firestorm hits, there's nothing I can do. They've just got to stand back and wait.
So how successful were you with those flames? They looked really close to the house.
They were close, yes. Flames were about 30, 40 foot high. That was about 20 metres from our house, and the grass burnt within 10 metres. Yeah, we just kept putting it out as soon as we saw it running across the lawn. And a fence post would go up, so we'd throw another bucket of water over that, and it was pretty hectic for quite a few hours.
So you were hours with your backs to the wall, effectively, throwing buckets of water on flames, protecting your home?
Yes. Yes.
Must have been exhausting.
We were just showered in embers. Yeah, we were very lucky. We lost Mum about a year ago, and a flame, one of the embers got under her little granny flat, and I ran over and put it out. But at that time, I suppose, I don't know, I'd had enough, and I looked up in the sky and I said, I thought it's useless, we've lost it. And I looked up in the sky and I said, Mum, we need help. And, hours later it was saved, and we walked in 5 a.m. in the morning to our bar, absolutely knackered, my husband and I, and had a Jack Daniels and a beer for brekkie, and I found a white feather at my foot. So that was, to me, a message from Mum saying, we did it. Yeah.
And that was Anne Windress talking to Alex Perrottet.